It's The Perfect Union, the perfect podcast for the perfect country. Brought to you by your perfect host, Hank Thompson, for you, the perfect listener. Hello, everybody. Perfect Union is back. Look at us, winners and losers all the way. 2021 will not keep us down, right? Hello. I miss 2020. I miss 20. Remember when things were so good last year? Remember the good times? Hi, everybody. Oh, God. That's how we're starting the show. Welcome. It's me, Hank Thompson on Twitter. Bum Rush Industry. First, some housekeeping, everybody. Click on Patreon and smash the bell. And hi there, guys. It's the day after the unsuccessful dumb fuck coup. The zombie horde that emerged, bone skeletons wearing captain's hats, crawled out of the where all the boats sank last summer during one of the Trump boat parade. Well, the skeletons finally made it to Washington, D.C., and they walked right through the front doors and took pictures inside everybody's office. So the skeleton army has arisen, and they're now the government. So, guys, listen, sorry to tell you this, but no more flower shower curtains. Pepe frogs only. Pepe frog shower curtains, and never change it. Let it turn yellow. Let it get like rigid, and it'll get real gross at the bottom, but then the mold will climb up to the top. And yes, I lived in college towns for more than 4 years, 4.5. Oh boy. Oh yeah, you got to collect weird knives. You got to start collecting weird knives. You got to propose to your girlfriend in the Applebee's parking lot, or maybe a strip club parking lot. That would be fine. Although, to be honest, I could think of worse. I haven't been touched by another human being in a very long time, other than accidental instances. Like when you touch the fingers of the McDonald's drive-through person, and their fingers are in gloves, and you're like, oh fuck, now I've got the cash register COVID. Yeah, so they won. It's over. America's talk about canceled culture. Well, we've canceled the entire culture because it's the dumb shits, the smog rollers or the smoking rollers. You know, the guys that put their heads in, they modify their F-150s to belch out giant black clouds of smoke just to stick it to the liberals and then stick their heads in it to prove that they've got poisoned masculinity. They're in charge now. They made it into the Congress, and the guy with the horns on his the Viking helmet. I'm overwhelmed with speaking right now. I did want to update everybody about where I went for the last month. One of my trademark unannounced disappearances. But then yesterday happened, and I was planning on podcasting this week to try to bring it all back. I do a lot of reflecting, and I go, oh, God, Hank, how's this career? You got to get shit moving. You've been working in digital media forever. You're the Young Turks union guy, one of them. You've been in this world of comedy and stand-up and political media and animation and other shit. And, barely in animation. And, fuck. And it's just been nuts. So anyway, we're now run by them, though. The skeleton army that is walked from Boca Raton or whatever the fuck that sunken boat parade was last summer. You know, skeletons, they don't walk real quick. You ever seen a fast skeleton? Well, I have. I play a lot of video games. Yes, of course I have. Fuck. Where are we at? I've got a bunch of stories to talk about. We're obviously going to mostly talk about yesterday's coup. I've also seen some people parsing out the word coup. Well, they didn't actually want to take over the military, and they had no idea what they were doing. It was just a bunch of dumbasses, white privilege, fucking assholes running into a building. Like, yeah, it's not historically, this would look like the dumbest kind of coup. The metaphor of what's the dog going to do when he catches the car, they don't know. Now we know is that they're going to eat stuff inside the car and then kill people. And then 3 of the dogs are going to have heart attacks. Because you should probably spend a couple years on the elliptical before you raid a government building. But, yesterday, back to the bullshit. I'm not going to overdwell on this. Believe me, I easily could. And I was going to rant for 20 minutes about my beard. I grew a beautiful beard. Check it out on my Instagram. Probably my best performing Instagram post. Giant masculine beard. I am coursing with testosterone. It will not stop. My back hair has back hair, okay? I went bald in my teens. That's how fucking manly I am. So I grew this huge ass beard, and I got a whole bunch of new stand-up bits about it. I haven't done stand-up in 3 or 4 years, although if I ever get back to it, I definitely will probably talk about beards. It's really great. I really got a really great angle on the beard thing. But then I trim it off, and I got a fucking patch of baldness on my face. Alopecia or something. I think it's stress-related, probably. Fuck! Damn it. Now I have to be bald in a rhombus-shaped, a rounded rhombus corner on my jaw? God damn it. So now my only options are to get thin enough where I don't need a beard to hide my neck fat, or grow out my beard again and get long and patch it over. I'm not doing a beard over. A comb down to cover up a bald spot. I understand the impetus for a guy in a balding phase of his life to try to cover up the little balding bits, but those dudes that really stick to the bald spots, like the Rudy Giulianis and the Nate Silvers of the world, meaning stick to the comb over, you're bullshitting. You're bullshitting yourself. I know it's hard. I know we all tell ourselves lies when we look in the mirror a little bit, don't we? But come on. Okay. So, all right, another day. Big plans for the show. Winners and Losers is coming back. I got to get out guests. The same promises I always make, and then I get overwhelmed, and everything just sort of shuts down. It's been an overwhelming kind of year. I've been eating a lot of pizza. I'm back on healthy food, but, that cycle's going on. But I did get back into my pants, so that's nice. And I believe, by the way, let me just say, normalize sweatpants at the grocery store, okay? I've been wearing sweatpants. I wore out my pajamas. I wore a hole in the thigh. How's that happen? Hand in the lap. Okay. They were thin. They were very thin. The sweatpants I've been wearing lately, though, not thin. So these will last a while. What the fuck? This is such a stupid show. Yeah, so whatever. I'm going to get back on Twitch, too. Things are still sort of planning ahead. I'll tell you what. Let me just get this so I can move on to the coup and talk about all that. And it's going to be, as usual, I want to keep this to 45 minutes, but I'm going to talk for 2 hours. Last day. Oh, yeah. I just needed to get away from the computer, honestly. I have this woodworking project I've been doing, and I love it so much, and I'm feeling so good about it, and it really sings to my heart, and I can tell that there's something clicking in there, but it takes a lot of effort. And doing this kind of video project, turning an urban balcony into a woodworking shop to try to start a co-op or a socialist kind of motivated business. Not that it's, but I want to produce a successful product and make things, and also include you guys in the process, as far as like maybe you could buy some of the woodworking stuff to help support the show instead of buying t-shirts and stuff. Although I would like to have t-shirts eventually too. But my merch will be like crap that I build out of furniture, out of pieces of wood I gather from construction sites. And then you can pay more than you would, like if I'm selling I've been making candle holders. They're gorgeous. Check out my Instagram. And if you pay for it, it's going to cost you more than if you went to TJ Maxx to buy a candle holder that was mass produced by some wage slave in Malaysia. Because you're supporting a show of a guy who makes you chuckle while you're trying to not kill yourself in the line at Starbucks. So anyway, I needed to get away from the screen and the computer, and I've just been living with my face jammed into these goddamn screens, and it's still overwhelming. I gave up Twitter for the week. Like I was going to be like, all right, because a guy I know, respect a lot, just like, I'm only using social media on the weekends. You should. And I go, yeah, I'm doing that. And that lasted about 6 hours. But then I decided if I do Twitter, I'll do push-ups. I'll pay a toll. Okay. Squats or push-ups, or maybe plank, something. Get up. And then I did that for like Monday. And it worked. I got a nice butt now, and huge square tits, which is great. My tits turned into like really nice when I work them out. Anyway, yesterday though, it was just all Twitter, all fucking Twitter, all videos, all clips, and so I've got I'm right back in the heat of it all. Hard not to get sucked into it. So been meditating though to kind of help alleviate some of the mental stresses that build up. It's like pressure building. It's intangible sorts of forces happen with a brain like the one I have. Oh man, so it's a difficult time. It's been weird. So I still am trying to make good changes and get better in 2020 or 2021 here. And It's hard to feel optimism knowing that the Trump nuclear threats or actual launches might be on. Which city do you think he's going to threaten? New York, D.C., maybe? I know that I saw on Twitter he's heading to Camp David for the weekend. I didn't know Camp David had a golf course and a private mausoleum where you can rape 14-year-olds. Didn't know they had one there, but I'm not surprised. Oh God, I just really threw myself off. Anyway, okay, geez, it's gone. The whole scenario is crazy. I got a bunch of videos to play. I here's the shot. I know that this is an audio show, but there's the shot of the Capitol. I think this is I don't know if this is. It looks like I think this is Trump's inauguration. Pretty sure it was posted saying 4 years ago, and now look at it. But the Capitol is huge, giant. I don't know if that's the rotunda. Is that the big thing on top, the dome, or is the rotunda like the? There's a whole bunch of words for like fancy buildings. Like the part where they put jars of olives. I keep thinking of Romans and Greeks and those sorts of. I've been watching some ancient history documentaries. It's really fucking amazing stuff. So many stories just keep reverberating, and that primarily is that power likes to concentrate itself and then prevent itself from having to ever be distributed more equally. That's an old story, particularly since agriculture. Anyway, and then now this is an amazing juxtaposition, though. You got this big sunny day, a bunch of people standing around, a celebration of the American empire and the peaceful transfer of power. Cut to 4 years, there's the Trump shot. I think that's a really interesting juxtaposition with smoke everywhere and hooligans and thugs and Trump nutters and people radicalized by Mark Zuckerberg's profitable algorithms and all the other ways that our society is suffering under this misinformation crisis, the crisis of critical thinking, the crisis of lack of literacy, understanding, and education. Did I say literacy, understanding? I meant to say media literacy. The crisis of being able to speak words correctly. Fucked up that sentence too. What a nightmare. Was there ever any chance it wasn't going to end with this? I don't have the picture, but the people with guns in the Hall of Congress. I mean, this is like, it's so easy. This is one of the things that's so crazy about what just happened, is that we're so overwhelmed. Our lives are hard, meaning stressful, especially for those of us who give a shit about the world and about each other and about this stuff. And so at least I'm speaking for me. Maybe if you listen, you can relate. It hurts to watch the world be like this, to see others in pain, to feel your own issues and pains and difficulties and stresses. And we also want to share in each other's joys too. That's what I always try to remind myself when I'm just getting overwhelmed in the feedback loop of collective misery, is that if you're capable of that, you're also capable of collective joy too. Adele concerts, for instance, Houston Astros baseball games. You know what I mean? The thrilling parts of life. I'd like to, I wish some swingers would take me under their belt for 2 years. And then I'd probably get all right, I've had enough. Jesus Christ, it's just complicated. Fuck, I lost my train of thought again. God damn it. I'm going so fast. But anyway, so there's this crisis abounds. It's like mutations of idiocracy, like we've all been struck by gamma rays that have turned us crazy, and so we're living through this weird period. When you put someone like Trump in charge, someone with this kind of power, this wizard, this sorcery, he's a necromancer of some kind, because he captures people's minds and they insert their there's a void in people's brains in terms of what does it mean to be alive, to have because they've attached us all to the American narrative. At least I was raised in the 80s, went to school as a kid. You're taught all this propaganda bullshit about Americans as a country. They don't teach you the real dark, scary stuff. They don't teach it from a leftist perspective whatsoever. None of that. You don't see anything of course. And so if you are bought into that, not to mention then they indoctrinate you with this Pledge of Allegiance, where they ritually force you to chant loyalty to a symbol and pledge allegiance under God. Everything is even under it's just such a brainwashing way So I've been in a process. I hope you are. Mine probably might have started before yours. Not that it's a competition for that or whatever, but mine, I've always sort of resisted. I've always had a decent bullshit detector, just a sense that I think you're not really what. Like that's always been like a what, especially like okay, let's leave that out. All right, so it's fallen away, or it doesn't match with lived experience that you live in a great country when you're working all the time and you're stressed all the time and everybody's angry and everybody's scared and everybody's mad. And that makes you rife to be grifted. It's a grifter's paradise, this country, because people are scared and they're easily manipulated. The griftees. And so generically speaking, obviously, but we're all folded into the schemes of forces and powers that we don't understand. Marketing and advertising and public relations. Check out, I know I've explored Century of the Self on YouTube, the series by Adam Curtis, and the stuff about Edward Bernays, and just the way that, and this is so relevant to today because our whole world is built upon false scarcity in order to make you desperate enough to not raise a stink with your boss so that you can make your life better and therefore challenge people in power. And then capitalism can sell you the solutions to false scarcity, to the symptoms of the problems caused by it. And I think, this is not, God damn it. The narrative that is fallen apart because it was always built on lies and bullshit. The narrative that America is a good country and a great country, and that American exceptionalism and this delusional belief that it's all myth. It's myth. It's the form. It's like I was saying this on a much earlier podcast. So it's kind of like the formation of a religion, and Trump is exploiting that. He embodies it. He's like a weird monster that embodies all of America's terrible traits. The dominant traits are its terrible traits, but those are the ones that's the reason we need the myths to paper over the delusions. And that paper is wearing out. It's not as durable during the internet. People can learn about that. It's, you can be exposed to new information compared to the time where the only information you got was from your parents, who are also just as fucking stupid as you are. And the textbooks and in order to see around the curtain, you had to burn a lot more calories to see behind the curtain, I guess is what I mean. So now we have these voids of narrative. I do think collectively an animal, like humans, we need a story. We need a thing that we can kind of all agree is reality. We need a collective, we're kind of like a whole bunch of tiny engines, like the rockets on the bottom of the rocket ship that has like the 4 thrusters. Humans are like those. There's millions of them. And if more or less we can kind of point them all in the same direction, we can actually make some progress and go in a certain direction. If they're all pointing in different directions, well, guess what? No McDonald's for you today. Okay? That rocket is not getting off the launch pad. So in the absence of leadership, in the absence of the story I want our culture to become, which is that we care about each other, and that we convert existence in a society to a responsibility to care for the planet and each other and the future generations. Basically, a generation ship, a science fiction concept that we should treat Earth like a ship traveling through space on some journey where we are never going to see its destination, but we have a responsibility to maintain the ship and keep it healthy and stay healthy for ourselves and keep each other healthy and experiment with polyamory. Okay? And cut back on the chicken McNuggets. Unless that's what they're into, you know what I mean? Fuck. Okay. All right. So Trump is exploiting this deficit. He's exploiting this, and it's really good nutrients for cults to develop. Religions thrive in America. Grifter religious types thrive. Cults thrive. And there's all the conspiracies are filling those voids, particularly because everybody's been talked out of their own self-worth, and they've been talked out of collectivist thinking. Hyper-individualism is a huge part of American culture. I'd say globally capitalistic culture, but it is, people do not have the ability to imagine collective solutions or systemic solutions because we've all been coerced against our will, meaning it's just simply in the water as a culture to be selfish consumers who only look out for ourselves. If you can rise up out of this world, well, then they'll applaud you and say, look at that guy. He was poor and he brought himself up, and he's got some bootstrap yanking in his past. And now he's one of us. Look at him. Why aren't you like him? Oh, it's because you're a bad person. Oh, it's because you didn't work hard enough. Oh, it's because you didn't. It's your fault. Your fault that's the downstream effect of an individualistic nation. But we don't have time. Global. Okay, we know. All right. My God. So it all culminated yesterday. Hopefully, this is the culmination. Maybe there's more into this picture here. These lunatics raiding. I have a bunch of videos we're going to go through. I don't have the graphic one of the woman being killed, and I haven't actually even seen it. I don't know how graphic it really is, but I'm not interested in showing it anyway. Woman died. She was a Trump supporter who was raring to go off to war, and she had been in the army I think Air Force. She served in the military, and all these people, I feel sorry for them. I don't spend a lot of points feeling sorry for them, but they didn't all choose to be brainwashed the way they are. I didn't choose to be brainwashed the way I was and am. We all are subject to influences that we need to be aware of. Thus, the need for greater expanded media literacy. They're all fighting for a lie. What are they fighting? What better world did they think they're fighting for? What did they? Because they think they're doing something right here. These are not. I'm not saying they're bad. They're motivated to hurt. A lot of them are. A lot of people are at this event wearing shirts, T-shirts. We're always trying to divine details from the way people are dressed, and they wear shirts that say W6MWE. I don't have pictures to show, but it means 6 million wasn't enough. So there's certainly a massive proportion of this that are straight up terrible, terrible, terrible. But even they emerged from a nutrient bath of nefariousness that is preventable. Maybe not fully, maybe not forever. There's always going to be those elements more than likely, because it's extremely profitable for a very small cabal of people to stay in power, just as Trump is trying to do. God, I hope he ends up in jail. I hope I just hope, God, please. Yeah, sorry, little rambly here, little disjointed. I didn't really plan out this whole thing. Yesterday was just utterly insane. I was supposed to be doing actually some good news. I'm not even sure if I'm never supposed to say it, but I'm just not going to say it yet. But I'm doing some writing for a thing, and it's actually quite cool, like little columns or something. Like it, yeah, you'll see it. It's fun. It's nice to say. It's nice to do. Writing was my first creative thing. I was always like, I'm a writer guy. It was one of those English. I was in high school. Like probably my closest friend in high school was the English teacher. I had a couple other friends too, but I was buddies with the English teacher. I was also on the yearbook staff, so she was the yearbook head, and yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to announcing that, and it's keeping me busy too, or somewhat. If it gets worse, though, we're gonna end up like this. This is a shot from the video game Fallout 3, where the Capitol is devastated and it's ruins, and it'll be a base. It'll be a fun base. It'll be a good one. But yeah, okay, stupid joke there. Side by side, just to see side by side. There's 4 years ago. There it is today. Well done, 2021. Good start. We're fucked. We're fucked. I have so little confidence in the leadership. I have so little confidence that Biden's going to do the right thing, that Pelosi's going to do the right thing. America has refused. Uses its myths. Man, I'm sorry, I'm on screen here. I did this crossover thing, and these shots aren't the same angle so they're not from the same spot, and they are not lined up. I could have done way better. The whiteness in America, the whiteys, skin color extremists, me, us, you, all of us, not all of us. This is thing that we have been avoiding dealing with forever. And I'm not sure exactly how you do it. I think it needs meaning. I hate to use this, like it sounds like pablum to say we just need to have a conversation, but like we need to start that conversation. We need to have a national movement to talk about this stuff and get it out and therapy our way out of this collectively in groups and in different circumstances and because it's all about power differentials, and the racial power differentials in America are imbued in every fiber of this country, of its justice system, of its employment system, of how people are treated and the speed at which they're forgiven. That is one of the subtle parts of whiteness that is extremely powerful, is the speed at which they're forgiven, the benefit of the doubt that you get. If these folks that raided the Capitol were brown-skinned, there'd be piles of dead brown people. I saw a tweet, don't have them here. A woman had posted about her dad was a cop, a Capitol Hill police officer for like 37 years, I think she said. And he was stunned. He's retired, but he was saying they have more than enough resources to have stopped anybody from getting into that building that they wanted to. This was a deliberate choice. There's video, I think I have it later on, we'll see it, of the cops letting them in. They opened up some gates. Utterly embarrassing that this country couldn't keep this rabble out of their thing. And so now Trump is, imagine this. So Trump gets his Twitter timeout, 12 hours. I think Facebook said they're not going to let him use Facebook till the end. I don't know. It's all changing real quick. By the time you're listening to this, you might know a lot more. Who knows if he's going to tweet again? I mean, sadly, that is a source of his power. His ability to amplify his voice. The limiting factor to con men and snake oil salesmen and all the other oils, badgers, beavers, bats, bulldogs. I don't know, why am I doing that? During the 1800s days was they didn't have electricity. They didn't get to scream it into a TV camera. You had to scream it on a corner or get it in an article. So owning media was extremely powerful in those times. Television, radio comes along, and your ability to amplify your voice gets bigger. Internet comes along, social media comes along. A society becomes all addicted to their phones and to their computers and their iPads, and we become unable to discern reality from irreality. Not even a word. That's how unreality we're living with now. Is I'm making up words right now. And Trump has this incredible power via social media. That is one of his things. So I'm for him being banned on Twitter. I find it weird, though, when people celebrate. Like, oh, yeah, get him. That's the punishment you deserve, you fuck. So, I mean, yes, it is a temporary inhibitor to his ability to cause problems. Basically, like turning the volume down on a toddler during her tantrum or his tantrum. I hate comparing Trump to toddlers. I've met toddlers. They're good people. They can't help themselves. They're going to get better. I was one once. I think in some ways I still am. Tiny penis. That's what I mean. Tiny. Just minuscule. And I won't stop touching it either. Stop touching your dick there, kid. Jesus, guys, come on. We're at the Southwest airline counter, okay? Coffee. I'm so fucked up on caffeine these days. It's crazy. Can you tell? So, okay, Twitter shuts him down. But imagine if you had organized a mob. a violent mob of bamboozled dumb fucks. And you sent them to your office where you work. I'm saying kind of generically, the government is their office. To your coworkers, where your coworkers work. To kidnap them. To take their shit. To steal stuff. To ransack their offices. To take over. To start doing their jobs for them. I don't think they really had any idea. The dog caught the car, right? But imagine you did that and it worked. And then someone gets killed. And then more people die. 4 people died yesterday. 3 were heart attacks. Ow, my dead heart. As I assume their last words were. And your only punishment is that you get to not use Twitter for 12 hours. Oh, and guess what? Your YouTube account is going to be down for 24 hours. I doubt that your HR department would be that lenient on you. But this guy's got nuclear weapons. He commands the mightiest military, the most violent, deadly fighting forces, and the biggest budgets in the world for weapons and the delivery of death. See, the thing about delivering death is that all you got to do is be close by. I don't want to kill you. I just want to point my gun at you. It's easier for both of us, honestly. It's much easier. I'm just going to point my gun at you. Now I'm in charge. You're not going to argue as much. There's a congresswoman. I don't know. She's a right-wing Q fucking lunatic who's won her election. And she's insisting that she gets to wear her gun. She wants to wear her holster and her gun everywhere she goes as part of her identity. Fucking cowards. Someone holding a gun, even on their hip, is trying to impose leverage they don't deserve on you because violence is persuasive. It works. It's extremely effective in terms of coercing behavior. So that's what America's bases all over the country, all over the world, all the money we spend. That's because we are robbing this planet. It is colonialism evolved. So that we can impose our will. By our, I mean the stock prices and profit coffers of the corporations that have no loyalty to this country. But they have loyalty to their ability to bribe all the politicians, Democrats and Republicans. And the Janet Yellens. I was going to do a podcast last week about that. Janet Yellen, one of Biden's cabinet picks. I don't know if she's been formally nominated, but she got paid all these speech, $170,000 a speech, $140,000, $200,000. She was Obama's Treasury Secretary or head of the Fed or something like that. She's a high and not one of the worst ones. I'm sure there's some people that would be far better. And but during her time off, she was on the speaking circuit, and that's just a way of bribing these people. All these big companies, Citibank, et cetera, just paying. Although to be fair, she does give a good speech. I'd say those are more like $120,000 speeches. Like when I see like a fun hour of talking, I'll go, yeah, that's worth $100,000. Yeah, that's worth 4 years of my income. I wish I was making that much money. Man, it's just so. And then this force the vote. Sorry, this is a total standard. This force the vote thing that's been raging within the lefty infosphere, online-osphere. That's been nuts too. I'm not going to go into this deeply, maybe another time. But I have worked for. If you don't know, it's it's Medicare for all. Progressive. There was a movement to push progressive politicians, AOC, the Squad, and others, to withhold their vote or to force a floor vote on the floor of the Senate in order to get members on the record for Medicare for all. I'm actually kind of for that. I lean towards being for it. I understand the arguments on all sides of why it's important and everything else, and also why it's probably not going to work. It's all about tactics. But to me, I've just noticed this, and so it turned into this giant raging, frothing fight within the divisive and fractured and everything that the people on the left do. And I credit this to the propensity for individual thinking, or meaning like original thinking. Independent is the word I'm looking for. Because part of a collective thinking thing too is that you collectively respect each other's opinions and that you want to hear other perspectives. That's collective. Collective doesn't mean we don't have independent thinking. Collective means we respect independent thinking and we encourage independent thinking. I think being persuadable should be a virtue that you aspire to. Be persuadable. Doesn't mean you be a fucking idiot and just believe everything you hear. But don't pride yourself on being closed off. That's crazy. Anyway, within the left, there's more independent thinking on the left than on the right. People who are inherently averse to hierarchy and not so scared of novelty. Those are characteristics that line up with people who tend to be more liberal and progressive than those who tend to be more conservative and authoritarian. But within the lefty side, though, it created this big kerfuffle. Jimmy Dore has been pushing for it very strongly and getting a lot of attention for his the kind of personality characteristics and stuff. And people are pushing back. And Cenk Uygur is weighing in from the Young Turks. And all these other personalities on the left and or within this online sphere. And if you're a listener to the show, you might recognize a lot of the names. I've worked in this world. I'm the only person. This for me watching this whole thing go down. I'm the only person on the planet. I can't say that literally. I guess there's others who, but for sure in terms of quantity, who's worked for both Jimmy Dore and Cenk Uygur, who I'm only bringing that up too because they kind of represent both sides. But they've been having a public dispute. That was last week. This is also not anything close to what happened yesterday with this coup. So I'm not going to get into it that much or weigh in on it. But I'll tell you, man, it's a fucking weird thing. I was on Jimmy's show for a year in 2016. I worked at the Young Turks and I've done some of their shows, and I was a video editor there, and I wrote headlines, and so I've worked for both those guys. So my perspective, someday I'll tell more detailed stories. There are stories. So anyway, not all small beans. Thanks for tolerating that aside. The whole thing is nuts. This coup is insane. Let's just jump ahead to some of our pictures, though. Here's a shot. This is a Getty photo of one of the guys in one of the chambers of Congress or something. He's got zip ties, and it looks like a gun, and magazine clips on his front, and he's all camoed up or like swatted up with the Punisher logo over a flag on his chest, on his breastplate. What's the zip ties for? That's a violent thing, to zip tie somebody. That's the start of caging them. That means hostages. And the gun. These people this was an intentional, this is where you can maybe start using the word terrorism. I know that actually the word terrorism has been repurposed and folded itself into different iterations over the last 20 years because it's such a powerful emotional concept, and people experience various reactions to that notion. Obviously, not all, mostly not positive, I'd say. I hope. And this guy he's here under orders from the leader of the country, this gun-toting, zip-tied maniac. So that happened yesterday. That's crazy. I don't have a ton of photos. Here's a picture of the cops fighting the Trump supporters. This is Bebop and Rocksteady, who, if you don't know, are the two primary henchmen for Mumra from the hit TV show The Thundercats, which I think Tim Burton should do a live-action remake for. Okay, Hollywood, do you hear me? Listen to Hank. Hank has great ideas. Make it very gritty and violent, though, not like one of these goddamn PG-13. You know how much violence 13-year-olds see these days? My God, we should lower that to PG 7.5. Can't imagine what it must be like to have kids giving them a phone. Here's access to every single horrible thing that's ever happened. And even all the horrible stuff that's not real. You can have that too. Once the deep fakes are out, we're all fucked, by the way. So anyway, yeah, this is I know they have ways of limiting internet, but I can't even imagine having the internet. I don't let my turtle see the internet. Okay? I don't want him becoming a teenager or a mutant or a ninja or okay, why am I doing that? All right, so that's just a joke about how the cops are all the same. The cops yesterday was insane. The police were part of it. They knew this was coming. There was more than enough warning from everybody, from the leader of the country. And 84% of cops voted for Trump. The police union endorsed Trump in this latest iteration. So for them to, that's what's been jumping out at me this whole time, is the incredible, obvious, profound, and depressing juxtaposition of the way civil rights protest movements in the last 2 years, Black Lives Matter and Standing Rock, and the Medicare for All protests at the Green New Deal protests in Pelosi's office, the Medicare for the disabled rights and Medicare for All, which are overlap, protests in the Capitol building, where they were dragged out by cops pulling people out of wheelchairs. Huge phalanxes of armed goons, police government stormtroopers lined up I saw a tweet thread this morning about Louis Farrakhan. I don't know what year this was, but Louis Farrakhan was on the Capitol with 4 of his guys. And he's not there even doing anything other than saying some weird shit to some other rich, powerful people. They're all fucking, But there was, they were saying they had SWAT teams ready in case that they did anything. They had resources deployed because 5 black people were there who they knew might need to be put in their place. And you have this mob of overwhelmingly white, privileged people, Trump supporters, Trump nuts, who undoubtedly are fed steady diets from Fox News, from OAN, from all these other areas and places where they can be misinformed, from Facebook. The algorithms that are just forcing them into further and further radicalization. And they just walk right in. Okay, we're going to get to that. Okay, so here's Biden answering it. This frustrated me. Let's just, we'll go through these videos and I'm sure I'll have plenty of shit to ramble about. God damn, I got it. Okay, all right, here we go. There's not much here. Biden called the Capitol something I think that stood out to me. Tell me, I'm curious what you think.
An assault on the Citadel of Liberty.
Oh, not the Citadel of Liberty. The Citadel of Liberty.
The Citadel of Liberty.
The what?
The Citadel of Liberty.
Oh, thank you, sir. Okay, thank you. His speech yesterday was pretty standard pablum. This phrase jumped out at me because he's such a sloganeer. He's such a politician. And this is exactly the kind of bullshit that people are tired of. The Citadel of Liberty. And unfortunately, I think there's large swathes of people that like to hear this kind of thing. They love this flowery bullshit. The Citadel of Liberty, the United States Capitol building, the Hall of Corruption, where corruption and capitalism, where big profits and big business and pollution and exploitation and racism and all the nefarious forces that are plaguing this planet and are going to kill humankind merge into the most powerful government on the planet for the last 100 years or whatever, to manipulate the system to either only change so that they can make money or to prevent change so that they can keep making money. The Citadel of Liberty. What the fuck are you talking about?
The Citadel of Liberty.
Kiss my ass. Kiss my citadel of poop, okay, you dumb piece of shit. Okay, so that was annoying. Here's okay, these are some, now we got footage from the protest, the riot, the coup, the uprising, the Patriot Doff, the Doofus Day, D-Day. This is a young woman was caught up in it. Sorry, let me just check my edit here. Why did I have 2 of them? Okay, whatever. Leave that alone. Not even going to edit out the part from the audio. I think this person's name is Elizabeth. I've been seeing, and just listen. She's asked a question by a guy with the camera.
I got maced.
You got maced?
By
the police.
Oh, she's a little upset. Her face is looking a little red. She doesn't look too bad. She's actually not like sobbing, crying. Her face is red, and clearly, I've never, what? I was at an open mic and a guy pressed a button on a girl's anti-rape mace keychain thing. I don't think he meant to do it, but it did. And all of a sudden it got a little bit out, just a touch, I think. I was on stage, I was hosting and co-host, like I was, but I wasn't super close to it. But then all of a sudden I could see people moving around and then I got it in my throat and I felt this tickle and I felt my eyes and it wasn't a lot. It was just I think he's just one of the sort of, a dumb guy, but I still don't think he meant, but don't fuck around with the mace thing, idiot. And so that's the closest I've ever gotten to getting maced. I remember screaming at him though. I got really pissed off. It really made me mad. I was just so angry. So yeah, I was, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, that was my hosting that for a little while there. She got maced. She's, not sure how to handle it. Okay, she wipes her face with a towel.
And what happened? You were trying to go inside the Capitol?
I made it like a foot inside and they pushed me out and they maced me.
They made it a foot inside and then they sprayed me with chemicals. I've had my rights taken away.
What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Elizabeth. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee.
And why did you want to go in?
Why would you say that? Hopefully she gets arrested.
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
Okay, I'm going to rewind it. I messed up. So the person asking says, why would you do that? What did you want or something? Here we go.
And why did you want to go in?
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
Thank you.
All right, so they walk. Oh, nice of them to stop and have a chat with the camera, whoever it was. We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution. Okay. What's now? What? What's your plan now? You gonna staff up the FDIC? You're gonna appoint people to run the Fed building, the 11 national districts of the Fed. Is it 11? I don't know. Maybe it's 7, something like that. What I mean, I know. I mean, the ridiculous, the logistics of a coup is pretty complicated. There's extremely difficult things to pull off. You don't just replace the government. Is millions of people employed by the government, massive bureaucracies throughout, massive amounts of. I mean, it is enormous. I mean, I know that's what's so. That's part of. Yeah, that's right. That's what I was saying earlier. Is like how ridiculous it is to even try something like this. It's because it's also too though they do it for the videos and the photos so that they can brag about it online. There's this whole people aren't connecting behavior to outcomes other than how it might impact and I'm caught up in this too. Our daily drive to get those little dopamine hits we get from faves and retweets and likes and Instagram posts and video hits and all this other stuff. It's partially why I find this whole career I'm pursuing so goddamn exhausting because I'm doing it without any other reward, meaning that's not paying my bills. If that's the case, I think my calculations about the energy it takes will change somewhat. Oh, there's just a lot going on. Okay. So it's a revolution. One more time with her because it's just a funny statement.
Storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
Ugh. She's just so it's not even her. It's just the society that had it so that's how it is. So now, okay, here, I haven't watched this full one. Make sure it's not too loud. This is inside the Capitol after they'd already gotten in. That's mostly, okay, we've got the other news report too. Let's just hit it and roll. I don't think there's a ton of talking, but I think still compelling audio. So if you're only listening, I hope this is working for you. So we're seeing footsteps running down fancy marble stairs. Looks like a baton on the ground. Wow, this is very video gamey. Like, pick it up, dude. It's glowing a little bit. Pick it up. You can add it. Check its stat points. Maybe its durability is still high. You're not going to have it repaired back at the weaponsmith anytime soon. Okay, there's a cop yelling at people from a doorway. He's got his hand on the gun. He's in that sort of staggered foot posture with his hand back on the holster of his gun. There's quite a crowd going on. This is a very zombie movie moment. Oh yeah, I have seen bits of this one, so this must be just the longer version of it. He's telling them to back up. But they're surging forward. One guy seems to be braver than the rest, as at the front of the line. His must have gotten his Mountain Dew Code Red time just right. Okay, the cops picks up his baton now. It's one of those kind of extendy ones. Those things are gonna fuck you up though. They got the heavy ball at the end of them. He's threatening. The cop is pushing back, but now we're retreating back up the stairs. So this is being filmed by someone who is not one of the protesters, I guess, because he's behind the cop. They're chasing him upstairs now. He stops at a landing and turns and faces. He keeps talking into his radio. Clearly, he doesn't want to take a swing, although honestly, he should just clock this fucking guy right in the face. Not that I'm for violence, but the amount of violence they unloaded on people standing around. I have a video we're going to play later that shows it's people playing violin when the goons invaded. And this guy is not defending the Capitol. He's outnumbered by a lot. And probably doesn't want to take his gun out and shoot them. And this is a black cop, by the way. But white people get to chase cops around the halls of the Capitol. Me and my family, as kids, we would go and do this in the summertime. We would go to the halls of Congress and just chase the police around because we were white people. No, right? But the standards for rules of engagement for a group of white people is extremely different than for anybody else, especially conservative white people. Lefties like me, with our purple hair and our Volvos. My pubes are half purple, by the way. It's genetic. Thank God. Otherwise, it gets expensive. Okay, now the cop's backing up again, up some more stairs. This dude's just chasing right after him. Dude, just hit him real hard in the head. I mean, that's what I would do. I'm not a pacifist. I'm not saying never push somebody back or defend. I mean, I know he hasn't been touched yet, but you have a mob coming after you. Well, I don't know. I'm not that I know what the right move is here, but this is insane. This is fucking crazy. I'm hoping this is all evidence. What we're watching, this is an evidence in the conviction of these hooligans who the president sent. Oh yeah, just Netflix's hit show. Escobar. About the Escobar. Is that called Escobar? The one about the drug kingpin. Why can't I? Okay. Anyway, he blows up. There's a case being made against him by the government in some investigative building, the federal building. I'm sure I'm messing it up, but I know he blew it up. He caused a huge fire and like did a terrorist attack with bombs and fire and blew up the building where they were amassing the case against him. This is kind of that. I mean, this is that, and that's looked at as one of the pivotal moments where the public was so outraged that they started to crack down further because it was a long, ongoing military fight against the cartels that did the drug trade. Now, again, legalize the fucking drugs, legalize all of them, regulate them heavily, research them heavily. Side note, you wouldn't have to have battles with the cartels at that point. Legalize, that would basically mean legalizing the cartels, just like they did with the alcohol companies. And the John McCain fortune, they inherited their money, or a big chunk of their fortune is Cindy McCain was an heiress to the Budweiser money. But this is on the order of, I would say even much bigger. They didn't blow up the Capitol, but this is a seat of power in the most powerful nation in the world. And this could have been prevented. I mean, okay, that's all right. So now the cop is backing off. There's a little bit more to go. Aren't there any doors on these goddamn fucking big doorways? Jesus. Okay, more cops are there now. So now they're in more of a larger room. Kind of has like a rounded ceiling with a nice chandelier. Would be fun to hang around on that chandelier and swing around on it. Kick my enemies in the face with overwhelming foot kicks from the chandelier, like a Jackie Chan. Maybe like how I like to picture Keanu Reeves descending from the second floor of his home. Nice mosaic floors, ornate paintings of men, of the heroes of men, white men wearing white men clothing in white men picture frames in the hall of the white men, America's leaders. I don't know who these gentlemen are. Specific perspicity, but that's generally the portraits of the powerful folks in our world are the white guys. Bootstraps. They were the only ones who had access to bootstraps. I guess, hey, whoa, gee, how did that happen? Equality, right? From the very beginning. But there's room for the horde of zombies to spread out, but there's also cops. There's some bald guy standing around too. This is our America, guy screaming at the cops. There's only 4 cops though. About 5, I see now. Boy, they're just all so angry. All because Mark Zuckerberg didn't know how to talk to girls. Jesus Christ. Motherfucker. Okay, so that happened. Here's from an outside shot. This is actually filmed from the inside of an outdoor scene. This is where the horde had gotten onto a like wall scaffolding thing, the kind that like lower up and down, you know, where you go out there and have a secret dalliance with a coworker, maybe. Come on, Rebecca, let's do it. Or we're both going to get fired for this. I know. But let's do it anyway. Let's give each other hand jobs outside the window of Mitch McConnell's office. All right, here. There we got a Trump flag and a United States flag, both symbols of hate from now on. So that's cool. I think there's a cop standing on this large ledge. This is very much like Assassin's Creed. It's a video game for you non-cool people. Yeah, you could definitely climb around on the outside of these buildings. That's for sure. Oh, that's not a cop. I'm dumb. Okay, it's just another guy climbing onto it.
It's embarrassing.
I think the guy filming just said this is embarrassing. Okay, well, there's that. So they're scaling the building. They're looking for entrances in to try to fight the final boss. Deeper into the dungeon, they were able to gain some access. They broke windows. They smashed up stuff. They got into people's offices. But this was filmed. This is the video that Michael Moore, the grandma in all of our hearts, and a documentarian, as an aspiring documentarian, although certainly I don't know if I'll ever work up the gumption to actually make a feature-length thing. I need a lot of emotional health to be able to pull that off. I really do kind of like his films, and he is an interesting voice. He has a prominent voice. Certainly plenty of eye rolls to be had, I suppose, but he's an okay. You know, he's done good. But I guess this was filmed by a representative, Dan Kildee, and sent to Michael from the inside of the chamber of what must be the House of Representatives here. What we're seeing, though, is the center door. It's barricaded with something, and there are 4 or 5 guys at least holding guns, pointing at this kind of lattice-worked window. So it's got kind of a wooden structure around some glass, and you've seen the photo of these guys holding guns, I'm sure. This is a video of it. Oh, Hillary Clinton is in the shot. She's walking up. She looks very confident, very strong stride, as most powerful people do. Have you ever seen Margaret Thatcher walk? Exactly. You wouldn't be able to handle it. They're hiding up in the balcony, it seems.
You'll let us know.
Yeah, they'll let us know. Actually, you'll know.
Yeah, you'll smell it. So they'll let us
know. Oh, Hillary Clinton's getting closer. She's approaching the people on the other side of the wall.
know when we need to put the mask on.
Yeah, don't put your mask on. No.
Okay.
Yeah, they're giving these hazmat masks and these like bags over their heads that they put. It's kind of like they've got the thing for filtering, so it looks like, oh, it's just like a shitty hazmat mask, like an emergency. But it would be funny if they're just like handing out bags, like plastic bags. All right, everybody, time to kill yourself with these plastic bags. Sponsored by Dominic's Groceries. All right, Hillary Clinton's getting closer. Oh, okay. Now the guy turns the camera at his colleagues and the folks, the staff and stuff. They're all bunkered down. What are they? 6-year-old school children on a Monday morning practicing for being invaded by the Second Amendment? Is that what's going on here? Maybe that's the solution. Maybe the thing, instead of doing anything about this, instead of addressing the root causes, Congress, twice a year, should just go through ritualized trauma where they simulate being invaded and attacked, and they can practice throwing staplers at them and throw books at them. Which comic book do you want to throw at the guy with the AK-47 or the AR-15 there, little boy and girl? Hey, that's what we do for school shootings. We didn't stop the violence. We just Spread the trauma around. Even children who don't even experience a shooting still have to be taught by the adults in their life. We're not going to protect you. We're just going to push you guys into a closet and tell you to be quiet and hope you don't cry so that the gunman can't find you. That's the right answer. That's how we should address this. But so he's turning the camera away because Hillary's about to pull one of her moves.
Yeah. The fuck?
Take your pins off.
Pins off.
Oh, pins off is to make sure that they're not identifiable and therefore that the Trump's supporters won't murder them for having political beliefs or belonging to a political party because we live in the good country. So let's listen to that again. Sorry. Hillary just went up and said, knock it off. She told him to knock it off. That was a long walk to get to that joke, wasn't it? She famously said that and when it comes to financial regulators, she told him to knock it off. Like that's what was going to, prevent the enormous theft of Wall Street speculators and rampant. Okay, that's an old story. Let's rewind a bit here. So this whole take your pins off. I don't know. The camera's not on the door when we hear the noise. Take your pins off. A couple seconds or noises right here.
Yeah.
That did sound like gunfire. It's hard to tell, but sometimes it's a board being dropped on a flat surface. That can be pretty loud. No, that sounded gunny. One more time.
Pins off. Yeah. Oof. The fuck?
Take your pins off.
Pins off.
No, man, that's intense. I'm not trying to make fun of these people's experience at all. This is terrifying. Maybe this will shock them. I've thought since Sandy Hook didn't change anybody's minds and didn't seem to move the needle very much in the way Americans look at. I mean, how much more of a devastating thing can you have a bunch of upper class white kids be shot in the face and gunned down and then do nothing about it? In fact, they converted it into a conspiracy story. And so it seems like, well, maybe the only thing that would ever happen would be a massive murder shooting situation in Congress. This is as close to that as it'll probably ever get, because guess what? They're going to raise police budgets for this. They're going to increase security. We're going to start seeing massive amounts of proper security, and there should be. Well, hold on. I mean, there should be an investigation into the police collusion with these people. Why was this possible? Clearly, it was. Obviously, there's the systemic relationship of white supremacy to the police and to the violent use of police as the open air prison guards of capitalism, the talons of the demon, as I sort of conceptualize them. They are the violent tool belts of the billionaires. If Batman were a billionaire, the police are his tool belts. And yes, I know Batman's a billionaire. Okay, cryptocurrencies, or as he calls it, cryptocurrencies. I just made that up. I thought that was actually decent. Yeah. So no, I don't want any Congress people to get shot. I wish I lived in a country that would react to 26, or actually it was 20 children and 6 teachers getting murdered with better than we don't care about each other's pain. That's part of individualism. That's part of our first of all, it's irrational to be able to save everybody. So I'm not saying you have to bring in every person, but you, me, everybody, we're conditioned to ignore each other's pain. That's why we haven't raided the Capitol building after the government killed 300,000 Americans. You know, kind of fucking idiot society we look like. South Korea, I don't even remember what the president did. She did some bullshit, some illegal stuff. They swarmed. They got that fucking place locked down and they got her out and she's in jail. What kind of culture would tolerate the abuses that our bosses impose on us and that our government impose on us, and just the immense amount of effort it takes just to get by in life? And some people do, we find a little islands of respite and we cling on to them, and that makes it even less likely that you'll ever revolt. So here's the office of the Senate parliamentarian. Now I don't have the clip of here, the screenshot of the article, but I did read a little bit about the parliamentarian's office. I'd heard that phrase before, but they're basically just like the procedural wizards. Like if you watch Game of Thrones, Sam goes to work or at the Citadel or study at the Citadel. He's looking for stuff, and he's trying. It's like where all the nerds, the guys who know how to write and stuff, they become the maesters of the different like kings, and they're kind of like an academy, a guild of some kind, but they're the Citadel. But Joe Biden would love to visit it. And what the fuck does that have to do with this? Oh, like you still got to have administrative staff at the Citadel, right? The maesters need a maester. So basically the parliamentarian is like all these procedural, there's a ton of Byzantine rules and procedures that you have to go through. And the gentleman from Poughkeepsie would like to be recognized. And I raise quotient 14 to. So all that sort of is sorted through the parliamentarian. It's a pretty important job. It's not a public job. So you don't really see this stuff, but it's vital to the operation of this old silly system, but it's vital. It's important. It's where the votes are, kind of the vote counting, which is what this whole day was about, was certifying the electoral count, which is normally not even news. It might make a mention on the evening news back in the day. It's not supposed to be a big dramatic thing where they give big speeches. It's a procedural thing to just say, yeah, we're cool with it. Boom, go. Let's go back to our corruption offices. But so the parliamentarian's office is targeted. Christine Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, was tweeting about that she's worked here and she's been involved with this stuff for a while. She's also done some media work too, I think. By the way, Chuck Schumer's daughter is an executive at Facebook, in case you're at all thinking that they're going to try to do something about the misinformation oozing through our phones into our phone-addled brains. Not going to happen. But she was tweeting about how this is not an easy office to find. It's not. It's like you have to know where you're going to get to it. These halls, these are big buildings. And it's ransacked. It is a mess. It's papers everywhere, shit all over the place. Lots of wood, that red officey redwood kind of looking stuff, heavily stained. Not sure what kind of lacquer they use. It's a big giant mess. And these people got in. This happened in America yesterday. Seems to have been a targeted thing. There's a huge fireplace. What a waste. They just have a bunch of shit on it. Fireplaces are so stupid. I would like to have sex near one at a lodge, but they're so dominant. They just eliminate all the options you have for interior design, in my opinion. Especially in LA apartments. My shitty apartment has a fucking fireplace. It takes me hours to chop down a tree every day. So this might have been part of it, and people are pointing out that there's probably a lot of data lost. Like, to talk about a security breach in terms of information. Computers are on. It's not that hard to plug a USB stick in, and man, boy, what a fucking nightmare. This is so bad that this happened. Okay, so here's a bigger one. I don't know if it's copyright safe to play the entire thing, but this is ITV News. It's a long video. It's like a news reporter, so we'll just kind of roll through it. Maybe it's fine. If I pause, I don't think the copyrights are going to be. But ITV News, guys, go like and subscribe. Let's honor the copyright gods. Good quality video of this mob breaching these scaffoldings. And you can just tell this is a sprained ankle city right here, where all these people climbing around on these pipes and these poles. And and this is not the local parkour club, okay? This is the local Park Your F-150 club. Got him. Fucking got him. Here we go. USA! 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 Oh, there's a Viking helmet guy he's a QAnon. He calls himself the Q shaman or something. He's a famous Q person. Has a big spear with a giant blade on the end. Unless that's the other. Oh no, that's an American flag pole. Disguised. It's a spear disguised as American. Look at that thing. Sorry, I know you can't.
For 4 years, we have witnessed turmoil in America. But nothing quite like this. The pro-Trump crowd fought.
There's cops up on a scaffolding looking down. They're not accessing it, but they have a gun. Lethal or not, who knows?
With the police. Trying to break through their lines. Intoxicated by the unlikely prospect of reversing America's election outcome. We watched as the standoff continued for at least an hour. Tear gas canisters were fired from the very stage on which Joe Biden will be inaugurated.
Fuck off. Not enough tear gas, I'll tell you that. Okay, this shot here is a whole bunch of folks streaming into up some stairs, up a gap or some sort of entrance into this scaffolding temporary thing that they've used, like white paper or some kind of white material to make temporary walls. I was thinking of stampedes, that's the word, being trampled. One of humanity's worries is panic, right? And group panic can be very deadly. In Chicago, there was a nightclub that had a panic moment, and people poured into a hallway and down some stairs and got clogged, and people died. There was like 12 to over 10 people killed because you get suffocated and crushed. Once you're down and people are coming over you, you're just not getting up. And then another person, and then now people are tripping on you. Now people are stacking up on you. I did a bunch of reading because I was actually at the time thinking about writing some kind of article about it. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but the Hajj in Mecca, Saudi Arabia has experienced terrible panics. If you really want to just cheer yourself up, I mean, by that I mean it's so depressing, but it's better than the news today. It's scary shit. They've had some major ones where like hundreds of people get killed because suddenly a panic hits, and human beings being these sort of like starlings, or like we have a murmuration effect where we just pick up on the panic in the room and we immediately go, oh, fuck, run. And then everybody's just running and you're just caught up in the emotion because it's like an involuntary response almost. Oftentimes trying to escape buildings and in emergencies causes panics, and bottlenecks is where shit gets really scary. And then the people who get tripped first get killed. They suffocate or get crushed to death. And I was thinking that might happen here. Not hoping it would happen, but I was looking at the shot. If you're seeing it, you could probably understand why I'm talking about it. Man, that would, fuck. It's scary. So whenever I'm in crowds, I'm like, oh, good. This Adele concert's getting a little intense. I hope nobody sets off an emotion bomb. Hello. That's my Adele impression. I can't sing like she does, but I can talk. All right, yeah, okay, let's just keep going. What the fuck? Thanks for listening to this, by the way. Okay, cops are kind of tussling with folks at the top of stairs. They made, the number yesterday was 15 arrests. I saw someone, the number today, 50 something. I'm not sure what the real number is, but nowhere near as enough arrests as it should have been. A lot of these protests in the summer, a lot of this kind of conversation going around about how much the police kettle people. Remember that was a house in DC that was sheltering people, and the police were staked outside to capture protesters for violating curfew to get them, and the homes were not letting them in, and it was like this huge standoff. They kettle people. We're on a bridge between buildings and on streets. They block off, and then they make you sit. I saw someone saying they were kettled for 16 hours and weren't able to leave. You sit in your own piss and they cuff you, and it's a traumatizing. I mean, these things are brutal. And fucking Biden, and I don't remember if I said this at the beginning of the show, but he should pardon every single person who was swept up in those kettle arrests and in those protest arrests. Day one, fucking pardon all of them. It's thousands of people. Some of them weren't charged. Many of them were. Many were charged and are facing massive crime, massive felonies, fines, potential long jail sentences, and just utter abuse of the justice system. And these fucking white people are flowing through the most powerful halls of Congress here. Unbelievable. So here's a guy throwing something real hard.
For Capitol Hill police officers, this was a losing battle.
This is exactly what was feared, but in no way is this a surprise. It has been fueled by the president's rhetoric, and it's increasingly clear this election has not healed the wounds. It has simply amplified them.
We followed the aggrieved and infuriated Trump supporters as they stormed the building.
I swear to CNN, and they just said these guys.
Now they're all climbing through a window.
Through broken windows and doors they had forced open.
A lot of them are filming. A lot of them have their phones up. Their faces are hopefully identifiable.
And for a few heady moments, they felt they had won a precious victory.
I think they're trying to find their Spanish friends. USA! I don't... that was probably... Was that racist? Okay, let's keep going.
They were now in the very heart of the Congressional building.
Man, they're just right in it. Okay, now we're interviewing a guy. He's wearing like a bandana kind of thing. Was probably his mask. Huge Make America Great Again. I imagine he probably spent a good chunk of money on the Donald Trump website to buy it. Hopefully Barron's PS5 grease is delivered quickly. I assume that's what they bought. You got to grease up your PS5s. I know it's a new feature. It's kind of fun. Anyway, so he's being asked a question here.
The purpose of storming Congress itself.
Because they work for us. They don't get to steal it from us. They don't get to tell us we didn't see what we saw.
See, trust is the problem here. People are incapable of detecting bullshit. They fervently believe this. They don't know. They're not. It's not going to go, because we've been manipulated by a big system of oppression and misinformation that's deliberately imposed upon us by centuries of lies and distortions. Because I am an unwitting participant in a cultural system that has no interest in my dignity, but it does have an interest in my fear, because that is useful. For as long as I hate people that are different than me, I will never complain to my boss about not being able to see a doctor. Take that, Seth Meyers. Yeah, I do act outs too. Attic boy. All right, so, but he really believes what he's saying. He really believes it. They're into it.
We respect the law. We were good people. The government did this to us. We were normal, good, law-abiding citizens, and you guys did this to us. We want our country back. We are protesting for our freedom right now. That's the difference.
What is his how is his freedom connected to whether or not Donald Jr. gets to continue to grift the whole world because he's the president's son? Like, what are you talking about? Supporting the Republicans means you're never going to get any kind of healthcare access. You're going to have massive amounts of pollution. Democrats too, by the way. But you're not. The media. It's so useful to lie to people and to trick them and bias. Okay, all right.
What's the purpose of storming Congress?
How do I know that?
They reached and entered the Speaker's office itself.
Oh, there's two people lining up for a photo right in front of Nancy Pelosi's house. Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Looks like a house. This is very video gamey, though. I know. Yeah, it is kind of like, yes. Have you made sure that you've healed your character and leveled up enough to take on the Pelosi part of the game? I've been playing Bloodborne a bunch with my roommate. We're both kind of. He watches, I play it, but we're both. I say we play it because we make decisions together. Not swinging, but like you're like, should I go to that spot or that spot? You're like, I don't know, go to that spot. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll go to that spot. This is so Pelosi's would be one of the later stage bosses. She's definitely one of the more difficult bosses. Her power is obfuscation. Oh no, she's charging up. She's charging up a spell to get out of this without doing anything.
Although Nancy Pelosi and other lawmakers had already been evacuated to safety.
Here you go.
It'd be funny if she was still in there, just like working on something, doing a Sudoku.
Here you go, brother.
As we filmed, protesters tore down...
Oh, wow. They're holding up a broken piece of her, like it's like a slab of wood in a irregular, like it's just a shard, splinter if it was tiny. But it says the piece. Wow, that's an artifact, huh? That's gonna be on someone's wood paneling next to a singing bass that needs its battery replaced.
Pelosi's nameplate.
And so here we are right now inside the hall.
This guy is brave. This bald British guy, no helmet. Like, listen, the skull is a helmet on the inside. Thank you, Darwin. But what we do with helmets, it's just a second skull. Really smart. So the solution to this NFL crisis, by the way, the CTE epidemic in the football industry, 2 helmets, obviously.
Of Congress. This is exactly what so many anticipated, and yet the Capitol Hill police are doing their best. But
now they're shoving them and stuff. Some guy is shoving. I don't know if it's a cop on one side. He's still doing the report, though. That's a good reporter.
Failing to control the situation.
We all know that they changed the rules mid-game, and they're not being held accountable, and that's a shame.
What's your message to the Capitol Hill police and to lawmakers here?
This is our country. This is our house.
Got a Cabela's jacket on. My dad used to give me Cabela's gift cards, and it's a fishing outfitter, and they do like, you can buy like a nice plaid shirt to wear to church, maybe something that could spill an omelet on.
That's it. This is our house. This is our country. This is our country.
Inside the chamber itself, there was...
Okay, here's the shot that I was referring to. The guys pointing guns at the broken window. They'd moved something to block the door. Wow, okay.
chaos. Agents hastily blocking the doors with furniture to keep the protesters out. Officers ready to open fire as a last resort.
Okay, here's a shot of people up in the balcony. This must be where Dan Kildee was standing and filming nearby. We can see some of the bags on their heads. The bags on I'm laughing at the idea that they just gave them suicide bags. Like, all right, Jim Jones style. Just like, okay, well, I knocked over the Kool-Aid, so fuck. God damn it. Man, like someone, you're camping and someone makes mushrooms or something in tea. And then they like spill it and like, oh no. Yeah. So these guys have suicide bags. Sorry. I know it's so okay. Sorry. Okay. All right. I'm allowed to joke about it because I used to be suicidal. Okay. All right. Geez, that's another heavy sentence. Okay. Let's go.
In the galleries, people took shelter.
Galleries. That's the word.
The great constitutional showdown in Congress had to be suspended.
Madam Speaker and members of Congress, pursuant to the Constitution
Mike Pence now.
And the laws of the United States.
A little earlier, the passions in America's political schism were on display as Trump loyalists acted to stop the certification.
I rise up for myself and 60 of my colleagues to object.
Senator Paul Gosar, Republican, fucking coward, piece of shit. This is whole objecting to the thing. There's all this performative ritual bull crap. All they're doing is fulfilling their obligation to their dear leader, to their narcissistic daddy, and they are filming campaign ad material. That's what that is.
To the counting of the electoral ballots from Arizona.
Ted Cruz. Oh, another one of the end stage bosses. Just this disgusting, rotten. If like a puddle of Band-Aids formed into a person, it'd be Ted Cruz. And then became a complete piece of shit and an asshole.
But I would urge to both sides perhaps a bit less certitude and a bit more recognition that we are gathered at a time when democracy is in crisis.
But he's looking like, just back up just a touch here. He looks like the Wolverine, if like, Hugh Jackman Wolverine. He's got this like crappy beard, and he looks like if Wolverine had a brother who fell into a well and was raised by well monsters.
Democracy.
Very moist, like a real humid childhood.
Is in crisis.
But the plea to suspend certification of the election was fiercely contested by the leader of the Senate, who broke definitively with Trump.
This election were overturned by mere allegations.
Mitch McConnell. Lindsay, you're really gonna. I can't believe you snorted the last line, Lindsay.
Losing side.
I do the best Mitch McConnell impression in stand-up comedy turned pundits. Okay, fuck faces. All right. Just do a turkey that can't articulate itself. That's all you gotta do. Lower the register on your turkey impression. That's pretty much all I'm doing. I'm not doing That's turkeys. That's Mitch McConnell. See? Little peek behind the magic. You're welcome.
Our democracy would enter a death spiral.
Like my jizz dolls when it enters my wife. His wife resigned today. She's also a major figure in the government, the daughter of a Taiwanese shipping magnate. Mitch McConnell is a corrupt piece of shit. So was his fucking wife. But she just resigned as the transportation secretary. Really brave to wait until the very end. Wait until the serial killer is suggesting we all leave the pile of bodies. And then you're like, oh, I probably don't need to do anything. Oh, God, they're going to be mad when they find out that I helped the serial killer. I'm no longer working here. She's also a fucking coward because she should stay and help be part of the 25th Amendment, which is the part of the Constitution that says you can remove a president if the cabinet, who is appointed by the president, his underlings, if Bebop and Rocksteady wanted to get rid of Mumra, they would have to invoke the 25th Amendment, but they'd have to agree. So if Bebop and Rocksteady retired instead of doing the 25th Amendment, then you're one vote less to do it. It's cowardly. Of course. She's married to Mitch McConnell. Could you imagine that? Imagine that. Oh, God. Talk about playing Bloodborne. If you're familiar with that game, it's a lot of like gothic, very creative. It's a beautiful game, by the way. Play it, but just haunting stuff. And Mitch McConnell would definitely fit in. Definitely.
We'd never see the whole nation accept an election again.
100 miles.
Here comes Biden limping out. He hurt his toe or his foot something a little while back, so he's got a little bit of a limp. You can't make fun of someone for a limp. Limps are, what are you going to do? Hide a limp? I had that limp around once because I stepped on a thorn and I had to have a lady cut it open because I thought it broke off in there, and I don't think there was anything. And I limped around for a long time because I had a cut on my foot. Well, okay. That's the story I usually tell on first dates. Let's go.
Away in Delaware, President-elect Joe Biden pleaded for the intervention of the one man who could halt this.
What if he just held up a phone and played that Spanish dancing song?
I call on President Trump to go on national television now to fulfill his oath.
I love that concept. Mr. President, do your job. Do it. Do your job. Like as if that's what's missing. Fulfill his oath. Like he's saying he's violating the oath. We all know our oaths are so sacred. But give me a fucking break. All right, okay, let's just go.
And defend the Constitution. And demand an end to this siege. To storm the Capitol. To smash windows. To occupy offices. The floor of the United States Senate, rummaging through desks. On the Capitol, on the House of Representatives. Threatening the safety of duly elected officials. It's not protest. It's insurrection.
All right. A word. We're hearing those words. I'm going to talk a little bit about it later, but Nancy Pelosi, right before I started recording, she did her press conference. So she did use the word sedition and terrorist. So like all these words are always thrown around. Words are imprecise or approximations of concepts at best. And we're often just sort of taught to eye roll or dismiss words or get all pedantried up about the slightly incorrect usage of a word. But when people in very powerful positions use specific words, that tends to carry a little bit more weight. Not that that's legally binding, but like when Dan Quayle misspelled potato, for instance, he was pilloried for being an idiot. And that's the last time we had a dumb person anywhere near power.
Indeed, amid the chaos of this afternoon, shots were fired. And one protester...
Oh, that's the part where she gets shot. Well, I guess we're... jeez, I'm going to skip that. I don't like the... Okay. I just don't... It's her death. I don't need to... I'm not doing this to... Okay. Oh. Suddenly we're at the Trump thing. Before. This is the rally where he told everybody. This is where Mumra said, get out there and cause problems.
This morning, the president spoke to the crowd in front of the White House, repeating his false claim that the election was stolen.
Fucking asshole, fucking piece of shit.
All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing, and stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done and what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
Just so that he... I mean, there's much greater layers of this ecosystem, the strata of the cloud sphere, so to speak. Just so he could be a rich piece of shit. Like what? Like all this just for this rampant criminality, this corruption, the embodiment. I mean, it all kind of folds into a desserts of different ingredients that is one big meal of an old story, which I referred to earlier, which is that powerful people want to concentrate power and prevent others from having any access to it. And, you know, he ran for president and won. He's this narcissistic psychopath. He probably had a terrible abusive childhood because he had a horribly abusive father. The wrong brother drank himself to death. And this family is filled with these grifters and these idiots, and they get injected in, or not injected, but they become pillars of this misinformation ecosystem, and they make money. This has been going on. I always point at Newt Gingrich too. He just releases books and books and books, and there's so many ways to grift the conservative audience. You might be able to make that argument for any kind of audience built around any kind of ideology. The way, but like, what? Be the rich piece of shit. Like, but it's that desire for attention. It's that need for validation. And we don't have a system that filters out the narcissists. We reward narcissists. The kind of person who becomes president generally, or even to elevate any position of power, CEO or whatever, is usually motivated by dramatic, terrible childhood trauma, unreconciled trauma. I would say a lot of the entertainment businesses. I would include myself in that a little bit. I wonder about that. Am I a narcissist too? Do I have it? I don't think I do. I'm pretty sure it's not. I don't think it is. There's definitely ego. There's certainly maybe a touch, maybe a tiny little itsy bitsy touch of narcissism. I mean, anybody who pursues, or, you know, I did stand-up comedy. That's a little bit of, but yeah, I don't think, I mean, I do a solo podcast and stuff. I don't like doing it solo. I just hate booking. And I laugh at my own jokes. That's kind of, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. Certainly there's other psychological maladies and stuff too, but goddamn, this world needs to get better at how we assign our vicarious experience to which narcissist and who do you pick to? Because Trump ain't the only one. He happens to have a particular lucky or serendipitous congruence of personality traits and cultural timing, and like I really don't think that I have a whole jag about The Apprentice. I'm not going to do it all right now, but people worry about the next Trump, and there are going to be more of these types of Trumps that are going to use his tactics. This has been a training thing for the next fascists, and especially in terms of what they can get away with, and especially in terms of what the Democrats will do to rehabilitate them, because that's the one thing the Republicans have that the Democrats don't, is that the Republicans have the Democrats. They have these weak, feckless, coward Schumers and Pelosi's and Bidens who see it as a virtue to act like the Republicans are reasonable. So they're going to rehabilitate the Republicans. They're going to be the paramedics to bring them, when in fact what a true opposition party would do would be this is their opportunity to dump the vampire under 100 feet of concrete and fill that motherfucker up. Put a bunch of garlic on his face before you put in the, maybe a Jesus cross, maybe like season 8 of Game of Thrones on repeat, and then fill it with concrete. Put it on him. That's what you do to a vampire. Okay? You don't help him get out of the concrete puddle. But no, of course, the Democrats are going to be very eager to rehabilitate the Republican Party. Oh, that's just an anomaly. I guarantee this is a prediction. I'm not the only one making this. Biden was campaigning for a Republican in 2018, and he was paid for it. And the guy won against a Democrat in Michigan. So yeah, it sucks. It sucks so much. Why am I rambling by that? Let's finish this shit. I can't stand looking at this fucking scumbag. Okay, cops pushing at some. I like the bike helmet cops because bike helmets, they look weak, but they're still helmets. You know, I would wear a bike helmet if you were going to hit me in the head with a tennis racket. I hit myself in the forehead with a tennis racket once, and I had like the side. I hit it right on the side, and I had the stitching, like the way the little tennis strings are in there. I had like an imprint on my forehead for a little while. Got laid that night. I did not get laid that night.
The cost of that rhetoric is increasingly clear. As crowds tonight are still swirling around Congress.
So just like scuffling between cops and people pushing and stuff.
And America's long journey as a stable democracy appears to be in genuine doubt.
Yes, that's well said. Well said. End of the piece. This isn't that last sentence.
And America's long journey as a stable democracy appears to be in genuine doubt.
Proud to be an American. Where? That's the only lyric I know. Here's the cops letting them in. So someone's filming. This is a TikTok by Marcus.Dipaola. I never know who's actual filming of these things, and I try to do my best to give people credit. I am conscientious of that, although my footprint on the YouTube ecosystem is so tiny that it's not like I'm like, oh boy, that show that gets 40 views is just really burning up the copyright. But it's kind of a distant shot, and you can see a bunch of people being held behind some barricades. There are about 4, 5, 6 cops, maybe. Lots of empty space in the foreground of the shot. But what you see here is the cops just open it all up. They go, you know what? We're just going to move these out of the way. And you guys go in there and you go scream that it's your house and go break Nancy Pelosi's signs and stuff and smash things and do weird shit inside. Pee on something. Do you think you guys were in there urinating in the corners and on the desks? Sometimes it's hard to pee when people are watching. Frankly, I find it easier. That's why I can only pee when I'm on roller coasters at Disney World.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
Not so much of a squabble as more like a come on in kind of thing. The police turn their backs and walk with them.
And they just breached the Capitol again.
One more time. This one's quick.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
Guy like waving them forward in like sweatpants and a hoodie. That's how I dress these days.
And they just breached the Capitol again.
There we go. Well, they went towards other folks. I don't know. It's just everything about this whole situation is fucked, man. Okay, what's this? Oh, I recorded this on my computer. Bernie Sanders was on CNN. I forgot about MSNBC and CNN until like 2 days ago when the Georgia elections were going. I was like, oh yeah, let's check in on see how Chris Maddow is doing and see what's going on with the Don Cooper. See what these guys are all saying to each other. Cuomo's time, whatever they're called. So Bernie Sanders is on the horn here talking to Anderson Cooper. I think Anderson Cooper should sponsor a line of products. I think he should sponsor poop scoops for doggy poos. And he could call them the Anderson Cooper Scooper Pooper. Anderson Cooper Scooper Poopers. The super duper Anderson Cooper Scooper Poopers. Don't you think? Say it out loud. Say it. Say it. Super duper Anderson Cooper Scooper Pooper. Pooper. Super duper Anderson Cooper Duper Scooper. It would be funny if this is the part where you opened your door and like the love of your life was walking by, but then that's what they heard and you missed out on a lifetime of bliss. Yeah. Fuck you. Okay, so here's Anderson talking to Bernie. I just like hearing Bernie's voice. I know that's a little weird, but it is the one blip in all of this sea of nightmare that is fun. Not fun, but that gave me any sense of hope. There are perspectives from the left in which Bernie is a little disappointing and stuff, but there's a little more purity testing on the left than I think is healthy or realistic. But anyway, I like Bernie. I I find his predictability reassuring, knowing that he is principled enough to say what he means, and and I'm glad. I think he actually, now that if Democrats, since Ossoff and Warnock both won in Georgia, which is a stunning surprise, that Bernie will be a powerful committee chairman. Committee chairmen have tons of power. They're mini bosses in this world. They because they are huge filtering mechanisms, but they also have access to staff, and they can initiate investigations and shit. It's not a small thing for Congress people to get committee chairs. And so Bernie I think he'd be the head of the budget committee as a senior guy. He's been in it forever. Anyway, he's on the phone with Anderson Cooper. We're not going to get a lot of Bernie out of this, but this is funny, so I did keep this in this here. Here we go.
For years now, about the kind of rhetoric of that President Trump has been using, and his words and his actions. Can you walk me through, first of all, what your experience was like today as this mob stormed the Capitol?
Well, I got my ninja throwing stars first. I keep them in a sleeve on my wrists. Then I grabbed my nunchucks. It's actually pronounced noonchucks. And I prayed to the god Moloch for the courage and wisdom to survive the upcoming battle. I'm losing my Boyne impression. It's turning into Jackie Mason for some reason. Here we go.
Yeah, to paraphrase your correspondent, it was surreal. We were just escorted.
He said correspondent. If the person just before said something about it being surreal. So that's in case I wasn't sure what that was.
Escorted here by the FBI and Capitol Police, dozens and dozens and dozens.
So this is right after, it's 8:07 p.m. Eastern on screen. Mike Pence is speaking back in the chamber. So they've cleared the Capitol now. There were also pipe bombs around, and other states had, like Georgia, there were armed people at the Capitol there. I know there are, I don't know if they're armed or not, but I know the governor in Washington state had a group accosting his house on his lawn and stuff. Anyway, so this is after the day, and now Congress wants to get back to business. They want to prove that they're wrong, or we're going to show them that we can fight them. We're not going to let them interrupt our sacred duty. So Pence is speaking after all this interruption on the right, but I think he had just started, though. This was, again, 8 o'clock Eastern. So Bernie is answering Anderson Cooper here.
Of armed law enforcement people in order to just get back into the chamber so that we can once again take up the
Senator Sanders, I'm sorry, sir, to interrupt. Vice President Pence is speaking. I just want to play that for our viewers.
Okay.
Who defended our...
Okay. All right. I'll hold. All right. You fucking Pence. I'd love that Bernie just muttered that fucking fake ass radio piece of shit, motherfucking Pence. Fuck you. You fucking phony. Fucking... What if that was but Bernie swore as much as I do. I'm trying to swear less. I know that's okay.
The Capitol today.
So here's Pence doing his performative nonsense, the perma-furrowed brow, he is a man. And what I hate about the American male, especially particularly those on the right, is that they do not see through this bullshit. They don't see this as a performance. It's such obviously just a lie. Pence and Trump both. They're just they're just different sides of the daddy that they all need, because we all have fucked up relationships in our families.
And we will always be grateful to the men and women who stayed at their posts.
You brought this on, Pence. You. Oh shit! I pressed it. Hold on. It's okay. There we go. Never. Everything's fine.
To defend this historic place. To those who wreaked havoc in our Capitol today.
People who vote for me and donate to me, and who I will call tomorrow to apologize for saying what I'm about to say.
You did not win.
Wreaking havoc in a Capitol, by the way. That's going to be my new name for going down on a lady. The Bean Dad story that was in the media a little bit? The guy did a thing about making his daughter try to open a can of beans or something. That one's a weird one. There's why am I okay, never mind. I was gonna make a joke about eating girls, something about being the bean daddy. I want to be your bean daddy. Let me at it. Let me have that bean. I'm dying from loneliness and horniness. Okay, here more Mike Pence. Sorry to put all that thought in your head. His head's kind of shaped like a bean, isn't it, Mr. Little Lego faced, rounded, cornered, Lego headed bitch?
Violence never wins. Freedom wins. And this is...
Yeah, see, violence doesn't win, freedom wins. Except this country was founded on the violent insistence that you were free. Did George Washington's 300 slaves think that freedom won? Or was it the violence that he used to keep his victims on his slave labor camp, concentration camp that he lived on? The guy that's on our money. We have monuments to him. A human trafficking, violent monster. Was there freedom then? No, I think violence is what won. Sorry, I just particularly despise that we venerate George Washington, who was one of the worst people in the world, as were all the slavers at the time, human trafficking rapists. Oh, the time was different back then. You can't judge them by today's standards. Oh, really? That's really? Oh, they... Well, murder was a lot more acceptable. What do you care that we still think that their ideas should be how we organize society around? I don't want to erase these people. I want to learn from the mistakes, if we're generous enough to call them mistakes. And I don't think we should base a society around what a bunch of people like that thought should be. I have major objections to it. Look where the fuck we are now. Okay, sorry. I don't know why I'm fighting with somebody about George Washington. More Pence. We're gonna go. Yeah, okay, we'll play.
Still the people's house.
He takes long pauses because that's how you know he's serious.
And as we reconvene in this chamber, the world will again witness the resilience and strength of our democracy.
Viking helmet guy sticks his head into the frame and is like, "Wow, Q!"
For even in the wake of unprecedented violence and vandalism at this Capitol,
that I supported through my 4 years of being a willing ass licker. See my tongue? It's orange. You know why it's orange? Donald Trump's butt color. I got Trump butt color. And then he breaks into a dancey song.
The elected representatives of the people of the United States have assembled again on the very same day to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. So may God bless the lost, the injured, and the heroes forged on
the lost and the injured and the heroes. And the paychecks we're all certainly going to get from gigantic industries that are going to employ us as quote unquote consultants.
May God bless all who serve here.
May God bless my snoring wife in the twin bed across the room, who tolerates my sleep talking.
And those who protect this place. And may God bless the United States of America.
Fuck you. Fuck off. Fuck God. Fuck all this shit. I hate the constant invocation of God and all this superior being bullshit. There's just another way of saying, not up to me. Man, I don't know. There's greater forces at work here. What do you expect me to do about it? There's a thing up there. Hey, but worship him. Worship him because he's there. That's what. For all I know, by the way, I've been recording here coming up on 2 hours. Pence might be the president by now. I haven't looked at Twitter since I started. And actually, I decided at the end of this episode, I'm going to check Twitter just to see what the updates are. Trump may be impeached or they're proceeding. We'll just see. We'll see an update there. Because by the time you listen to this, it'll be way further advanced than even that. Yeah, all right. Okay, more to come. Remember, Bernie's on hold here. Fucking, all right. Come on, Anderson. Oh, my dog just took a shit. I wish I had some device to. All right, I'll use my hand. Throw it. Bernie throws it over a fence. Hits some little girl in the face. Sorry. Okay, sorry. All right. I could sure go for a super duper Anderson Cooper scooper pooper duper right now. That's right. Where the fuck's my dog scoop up? All right, sorry. I'm getting a little annoying. I know. I'm sorry. Here we go. More of this. Back to Anderson.
Let's get back to work.
Oh, yeah, that part. Let's get back to work. Oh, yeah, we're just going to move right on. Let's just act like nothing happened. Let's get back to work. I just was part of a coup of a country. Time to get back to work. That was just a weird 10 hours.
Let's get back to work.
Fuck. Oh, and then they applaud. Yes, queen. Yes. At least not everybody stood up. There's one guy not applauding. Looks like John Oliver, but they all look like John Oliver from this distance. Here's Anderson.
Still joined by Senator Sanders. Senator Sanders, I'm sorry to interrupt. Have you ever seen or lived through a darker day in America?
Well, I spilled orange juice on my Commodore 64 in 1982.
No, it really is very, very sad for our democracy, for our country. And it really speaks to the fact that we have a president who not only is...
Mitch McConnell's on screen right now, by the way. So he's obviously, taking the horn from Pence. He's next up on the docket.
A pathological liar, somebody who lost an election by 7 million votes, lost the Electoral College, but is prepared, Anderson, to
Senator
do
Sanders,
anything.
I'm sorry, sir. I have to go to Senator McConnell.
So now he's interrupting him again.
McConnell is speaking. I
Okay,
apologize,
I'm going to get back to the floor myself. I'll talk to you later. All right, take care.
All right, okay, fine. Fuck this. You just wasted my time there, scooper pooper duper. Jesus Christ. Didn't you get my bag of candy for Christmas? No, I'm not sure Bernie's sending candy to the media figures, although I know that's a big part of making relationships and keeping professional contacts going, is you got to send those Christmas gifts.
Bye-bye.
Mobs.
All right, bye-bye. All right, bye-bye. Let me just finish. I just like the interruption.
I'll talk to you later. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Mobs.
And then there's Trump. There's McConnell making his breeding calls. All right, so that was fun. That was fine. Okay, now here's Biden at the end. I don't have a ton of comment here. I'm going to start from the point I picked from the recording. He's finishing up his little statement about how it all has to stop, and the Citadel of Liberty, and the camera film container of freedom, and the shoebox of dildos or something. Let's let it roll.
So, President Trump, step up.
Do your job.
May God bless America.
Ugh.
May God protect our troops.
Our troops? That's just his brain spitting out. When you say God bless America, you also have to mention the troops, because Americans are nothing if not conditioned to accept these bullshit bromides from their leaders, and it's embarrassing for everybody.
And all those folks at the Capitol who are trying to preserve order. Thank you, and I'm sorry to have kept you waiting.
Well, he did keep him waiting for like over an hour and a half. A lot of politicians do that, and it's really annoying. But on a day like that, I guess I could make room for being more late. But some politicians are famous for doing it chronically, and it's a terrible media strategy too. Just be on time so you don't waste people's time. So now he's walking off. He's limping away towards the corner, the same corner he came in from. So it's not like he's going to get stuck like a bug. He's trying to get away from the vacuum. I vacuum up bugs when I see him, by the way. Here he goes. People are starting to shout questions.
Are you concerned about your inauguration, sir? Sir, have you spoken to McConnell today?
So he stops. Okay, now he turns.
Are you concerned about your inauguration, sir? Are you concerned about violence?
But he steps back like 3 steps. He's way in the corner now.
I am not concerned about my safety, security, or the inauguration. I am not concerned. The American people are going to stand up, and stand up now. Enough is enough is enough.
Will the cotillions still have chocolate-dipped strawberries? Is there going to be a marshmallow fountain? Marshmallow fluff can be made a little bit more viscous if you just add distilled water. Well, is it going to be those plastic champagne flutes that where the bottom detaches from the top? Or is it going to be real champagne flutes, which when they break while you're taking a sip because you've had too much to drink, they cut up your gums? Sir? Should I wear pink polka dots in my cotillion dress to the boat parade? I have no idea if any of this is entertaining. So the thing I'm remarking on, I'm just going to keep playing because it's funny how this, for those of you watching, the camera just sort of lingers and yeah, anyway. He turns and talks. It's so weird how he does it because go back to the podium, you dry dingleberry, as they called him on Twitter. What the fuck? Just turn. Just go back. He's done this before when he was walking off. They were asking about the $2,000 checks. Are you for supporting $2,000 checks? And he said yes without turning around to really show that he cares about the plight of people and the suffering that they go through. Anyway, that's all I really had to say was just go back to the podium, you fucking idiot. What are you doing? Turning and standing in the corner in the dark. All right. God, there's so much more here. No, Mike. What is? Oh, okay. Never mind. Sorry, I'm looking at my timeline thing. I got it. I was confused for a second there. Another story. Oh, this is Joe Scarborough, famous lefty liberal on the Microsoft National Bill Gates Communications channel. Oh, there it goes. Scarborough was upset this morning. This is on Twitter. We got it's like 50 something seconds of audio here, and I'm not a big Scarborough stan. I think that's the first time I've ever used the term stan. I'm honestly not even sure. I think that means someone you defend them. I don't know. I resist adopting new language. I still won't even use the word bling. No thanks. Anyway, Scarborough's yelling about what happened yesterday. I'll just play it.
If these insurrectionists were black, they would have been shot in the face. And my God, if these insurrectionists were Muslim.
So they're showing pictures of the various shots, various like photos from yesterday of Congress people wearing those bags on their heads.
They would have been sniped from the top of buildings.
I like that he escalated. It's like they have one form of terrible violence for black people and another one of a long distance one for like I don't know. I'm not trying to judge him here, but he gets all worked up here.
So I want to know from the Capitol Hill police, what is it? Is it just white people? Or is it Donald Trump supporters? Why do you scream at people for walking across the street 3 blocks away from the Capitol? Why are you known as badasses around the Capitol? But then Trump supporters come in and you open the fucking doors for them. Oh my God. You open the doors for them and let them breach the people's house.
Okay, the people's house.
What is wrong with you?
So this shot is all B-roll of slow Ken Burns pullbacks. Not slow enough for Ken Burns' style, but I wish this was him screaming. This would be more effective if they were on camera actually saying it. But I rewound it here to the swear. If you listen real closely, you hear someone close to him, probably one of his co-hosts, go, oh, because he committed the cardinal sin of swearing. He swore. Oh, no. Oh, people hundreds of years ago were uptight. Oh, my God. Then so am I. Like it. I hate the censorship of swearing and the Puritanism behind it is just okay, let's hear it again.
But then Trump supporters come in and you open the fucking doors for them. Oh my God. Oh my God, he said it. You open the doors for them and let them breach the people's house.
Who's the people's house? Isn't there some basketball? No. The Rock, the People's Elbow. Yeah, The Rock when he was a wrestler.
What is wrong with you?
I do a podcast, so I can't help it. It's the thing. I can't. It's yeah, that's fucked up. Yeah, what's wrong with them? Well, they're on the same fucking team, man. Bebop and Rocksteady, cops and Trump supporters. It's white supremacy. That's America. We have a different set for the way white people are the kind of conditions in which they face. And they're the ones who tell themselves that they're the ones being oppressed. Because Starbucks puts holidays instead of Christmas on their advertising. Because the TV and the pretty blonde ladies and the dopey dad guys on the TV tell them that their, lives are at risk because some two women want to hold hands or something. Like, what the fuck? Like this conservative cultural bullshit has just driven these people mad, and the algorithms promote it. And the media concentration, the Telecommunications Act of 1996 that Clinton signed, that increased things. All the concentration of ownership into the hands of fewer and fewer people. Power wants to concentrate itself, and that's what's wrong. I mean, the first thing we have to do is to get rid of the information ecosystem that is causing all this misinformation, all this. Totally. Andrew Yang had a tweet thread I saw that he's an interesting guy. I think he's a good-hearted fellow. He was at TYT once, and this is no judgment, meaning this is no replacement for any kind of real analysis, but I didn't pick up negative vibes. He's just when you're in someone's presence they seem, you can just can't, not that I was around him a bunch, but I saw him walk in. He said a couple things. Oh, hey, Young Turks. You know, I could tell that he's got a okay thing in there, heart or whatever. I'm not a big Andrew Yang defender. If I ever get into politics myself, I hope that my followers call themselves the Hank Gang, you know, because he's the Yang Gang. And, but anyway, he's okay. He's okay. I don't think his voice is unwelcome. It's interesting because he does bring a bit of an outsider's perspective. Not that he's not one of the capitalist insider types, guillotines, but I don't know why I'm trying to be so cagey about it, but whatever. But I don't have his information to share with you, so talking about it's really pointless. But he was really going into the ways that we need to disempower and break up and regulate social media and tech businesses and data ownership. We are so far behind the times for that. That's also why we don't need these geriatric dinosaurs. We have a bunch of fossil skeletons like Pelosi and Schumer and McConnell, and Jim Clyburn is like 80. He's the number 3 in the Democratic leadership pile. Biden himself, Bernie's fucking old as shit too. But like all these old people, they're not going to be as adept at the technological stuff. You know, they're confused, barely know how to use their phones. What? How do I start this car? Grandma, that's a horse. Anyway, he was going on about it, and that's a big thing for me too. I think the algorithm should be banned or immediately they should be default off. And if you want to use an algorithm on your social media, you should have to watch media literacy classes like driver's ed. Like, this is what data is. This is what companies do with data. This is the data they are collecting. Here are the upsides. This is how it benefits you. This is how it doesn't benefit you. This is what the algorithm wants to do. This is, and show data, show information. Be honest too. Don't say there's only downsides. Say these are the upsides. Mark Zuckerberg will be able to afford more Sweet Baby Ray's. He needs barbecue sauce. He has cookouts in his backyard and he needs barbecue sauce. There's a famous video of him pretending to be a normal person, trying to pretend like he's grilling with his boys.
Hey everyone. We are live from my backyard where I am smoking a brisket and some ribs. I'm making meats now, smoking these meats here. What are you guys making for dinner? Brisket and ribs, I hope. Delicious. Are you excited to have a rib tonight? I want my baby back ribs. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. That is going on the ribs.
Sweet Baby Ray's.
Sweet Baby Ray's. Sweet Baby Ray's. Sweet Baby Ray's is very good.
Sweet Baby Ray's.
Sweet Baby Ray's. We have just applied the Sweet Baby Ray's.
I grill by myself, but I am with my boys, if you know what I'm saying. So anyway, I'll get into that another time. I don't have time to go get the Andrew Yang shit for today. But so how do the police respond, and why are they seemingly not really exercising their power in a way that is equal? That is, I don't know if that necessarily means fair per se, but they seem to have different levels of intensity depending on who they're going after. So this is from the Black Lives Matter. I don't know the exact. I don't even know if that's the case. I'm sorry. It might, but it's a bunch of people. Looks like an orchestra team. See some cellos. There's a guy standing up. It must be a bass, but it looks like a cello. He's a stand-up cello. It's not a huge. Okay, okay. I played cello when I was a 6th grader. Violins, and they're wearing masks, but they're in shirt and casual clothes. No one's wearing their formals right here, but there's a nice little moment. They look like they're in some sort of town square. Lots of folks standing around, and who doesn't love some public violin and orchestra music? That is one of the nicest things. A really beautiful piano or a really beautiful orchestra quartet, and you're in public and you're with your girl and she's looking good, and you're like, yeah, yo, Chipotle's right up there, babe. Let's get going. But let's listen to this guy for a second here. Let's just listen and see what happens. You're not gonna be too surprised by what's coming. Camera swinging around. Mostly a field of people sitting somewhat scattered, seemingly minding their business. Oh, a dog, a bunch of people.
No.
A bunch of heavily armed knights, police, wearing their SWAT gear, helmet, armor, are walking in line. They're walking. There's a lot of them. They're extremely well protected.
No!
Oh, now they're onto the lawn. They're turned.
No! You've got to be kidding me. No!
And there you go.
No!
They're kind of just invading the space and taking over the field of people.
No!
How dare you? How dare you? We've been told there are lefties here listening to Chopin. Did Chopin? He was more of a piano guy, wasn't he? I don't know. All right. Well, my guy. Okay. No, we're done. I was going to go off about this Trump children getting Secret Service protection for the rest of their life. So make sure you keep paying your taxes there, you dumb fucking idiot. Isn't that nice? You're a dumb fucking idiot, and you don't even want to be one. But you're an American. You can't not be. We are going to be paying for Ivanka Trump's bodyguards for 30 or 40 years. Cool, huh? That's awesome. She deserves it. She can't afford her own. Okay, we're doing it. All right, fuck it. All right, so Former Presidents Act, this is Wikipedia. The Former Presidents Act, also known as FPA, is a 1958 U.S. federal law. Let me start a little context. Trump gets benefits for life. Trump will receive his full salary, Secret Service protection. All presidents do for the rest of his life. I'm not necessarily against a president having guards around them because, one sign that you live in the good country is that we all agree that if the president didn't have bodyguards and a military operation surrounding them wherever they go, that they will be murdered. Well, yeah, of course someone's going to murder him. He's the president. Yeah, I'm from the good country. Well, yeah, of course the person of our country deserves to die. Yeah, of course. That's why we give him bodyguards. Duh. That means I'm from the good country. Gee, maybe that's a sign that America hasn't exactly provoked a lot of goodwill around the world. But you couldn't. It would be pretty terrible for an ex-president to be murdered or assassinated by somebody. And the nature of politics and geopolitical maneuvering is that you're going to have scores to settle, and someone might come after them. Okay, all right, okay, fine. Overall, it's not a big giant. It's not a huge expense in the grander scheme of the amount of money that's available to the this nation. So, federal law provides several lifetime benefits to former presidents of the United States who have not been removed from office. So I posted this on Twitter, saying maybe this is a reason to get rid of him too, so that we don't have to pay for his fucking security for the rest of his life for the next 14 weeks until he chokes on a Long John Silver's while Melania pretends to dial 911. Some more from this Wikipedia. The current status is, by law, former presidents are entitled to a pension, staff, and office expenses, medical care or health insurance, and Secret Service protection. So they get massive socialism. That's one of the perks of being a powerful person is you get socialism for the rest of his life. That'll be nice. Even a staff, people to work for him and do releases. Like, I'm sure Obama didn't do the Photoshop on his list of Spotify shows that he likes to watch. God. Blow. Is that the name? No, Blow is that movie with Johnny Depp. What's the Escobar show? Coke? The Snow. Drug guy. I can't know. History. Before 1958, the U.S. federal government provided no pension or other retirement benefits to former United States presidents. Andrew Carnegie offered to endow $25,000, equal to $662,000, annual pension for former chief executives in 1912. Boy, you're a rich guy when you're like, I'm going to bribe all the ex-presidents. But congressmen questioned the propriety of such a private pension. That prompted legislation to provide benefits to former presidents. When the Former Presidents Act took effect, there were two living former presidents, Herbert Hoover and Harry Truman. Dwight D. Eisenhower was the first president to fall under the act upon leaving office. Okay. So does that mean Herbert Hoover and Harry got it, or just Dwight? Because he was probably... That must be funny. Herbert Hoover. Oh, I sure could use some free money right about now. What's this letter I'm opening? Oh, thanks, Carnegie, for getting this ball rolling. So, yeah, they suddenly started paying him. Okay, they make so much money on their book deals, and Obama's got his Netflix money. He's a big Netflix producer now. there's no shortage of money for them. I think they get paid $400,000 a year. The Secret Service expenses would probably outweigh that, I imagine. This is interesting. The original act provided for a lifetime Secret Service protection for former presidents. In 1994, protection was reduced to 10 years for presidents first taking office after 1996. Hillary, they're cutting down on the pensions. I'm going to need service protection for at least 11 years. I got to wait for her to grow up. What? Okay, I'll sign this to make you Newt Gingrich. Newt, you and I are going to go to Epstein's Island this weekend. The protection limitation was reversed in early 2013 by the former President's Protection Act of 2012. All living former presidents and their spouses after Dwight D. Eisenhower, oh, really? Not the ones before? Are now entitled to receive lifetime Secret Service protection. I looked into it too, and it looks like it also includes their children. So I'm pretty confident that means we have to pay money for Donald Jr. and Ivanka and Eric Barron. Barron should get therapy, honestly. It'll be really interesting to see how his life proceeds, depending, what kind of trauma. What a weird, unique way to have your head scrambled being that kid. Anybody who grows up in the White House, really. So that's nice. Isn't that nice? Don't you like working so hard and scraping together, barely getting by, and then sending some money in there so that, let's see this, so that these two fucks can have bodyguards that you pay for? We're looking at a headline from The Guardian, 2019. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner made as much as $135 million last year. Remember, these are government employees who work in the White House, who are paid a salary. Jared got his buddy a job. Rudy Giuliani's son is the sports liaison. So he's the one who schedules when like a team wins the college champion thing, and he comes in, and so he gets to hang. So this guy just gets $90,000. This is Rudy Giuliani's kid, Jared Kushner's pal, to make money, be paid to go to sports games and schedule them to come to the White House. But Ivanka, of course, she's wearing some kind of crazed hat, like she killed. It looks like she killed. What's that video game from the way back machine? Furbies? No. The guy that's like a big ball. It looks like she's got a mushroom slapped on her head, like a big piece of clay. Strange tax these fucking people. They made $135 million in 1 year. I saw another headline that they made $82 million. I mean, this is the grift. This is all businesses Trump is involved with as White House. In the subheading, in their second year as White House aides, couple took funds from real estate holdings, stocks, and a book deal. So it's nice that we're going to be paying for their security. They probably should have security for the rest of their lives, to be honest. It's a fucked up world. These are very high profile people. Do you think they could afford it themselves? Maybe. Nah, I don't. I think people who work at Taco Bell should probably send in some tax money and make sure that they get it. I think bus drivers and the taxes I'm going to pay on the unemployment money I got this year or in 2020, that should go. I hope a little bit of that goes to Ivanka's protections. 40 years from now, you're still going to be paying for Ivanka's bodyguards. But what I'm hoping is that it's those who have not been removed from office don't have to, or means that we can get out of it. All right, that's good. We're done. I am going to jump on Twitter where news happens first real quickly. Then we're going to see. Let's see, guys. Thanks for putting up with all this. Another 2-hour long fucking podcast. I think I had some fun little moments in here. I probably got a little annoying with some of the louder talking and stuff. 11 notifications. Oh, did Lori Loughlin get my tweets? Okay. People are talking about it. All right, whatever. Okay, National Guard remains. Yeah, okay, I'm not seeing anything. I was just hoping it would said like impeachment already happening or 25th Amendment invoked. I don't see that, so we don't know. Okay. All right. Well, no. So in the last 2 hours, the president is still the president. And Biden here. I'll just get this one. Merrick Garland will serve as the Attorney General of the United States, not as my personal lawyer with an M dash. Good one. Got him. Really got him there, Biden. Really got him there. Are you going to prosecute them with Bill Barr? I don't know. But like Bill Barr was just like, they went after Clinton for having a conversation with Loretta Lynch on a tarmac outside an airplane. And they pilloried him for that for years. Bill Barr was Trump's personal lawyer and use the Justice Department to invoke, all kinds of horrible legal shenanigans. And it works because America does not hold powerful people accountable whatsoever. So, okay. Well, by the time I get this edited and uploaded, all this might be different. Who knows? Good times. Good times. Oh, yeah. And COVID is killing 4,000 people a day. And I live in Los Angeles, which is the global epicenter of it. So that's nice. That's fun. My poor damn roommate needs open heart surgery, and his surgery is delayed because it's unsafe to be in a hospital right at this point. So that's good. That's good. That's good. God, fucking man. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I was just hoping that they'd gone forward with shit. So, okay, cool. I'm going to push off Twitter, or meaning, not do so much. I actually got a lot of crap I have to focus on. Thank you guys. Really appreciate anybody who's hanging in there with me. This is in terms of like the bad schedule and not putting stuff out consistently, because that's the dumbest thing to do if you're really trying to build an audience. And we're looking for a good 2021, aren't we? I'm optimistic. I'm not. Best case scenario, as far as I can tell, is like you might be able to take your mask off in the September, October time, because the vaccine is going to take a long time to distribute, and but they're fucking it up really badly. So it's probably going to be longer than that. It's not an impossible thing to do, but it seems to be outside the grasp of the people we choose to lead us. So it's, geez. But, if you can't imagine that it should be any better or any different, then you don't hold anybody accountable for it. Well, guess what? It's just going to slowly get worse until everybody dies from murdering each other for the last piece of rice that the planet is able to spit out. That's my squirrel. No, it's my squirrel. So, yeah, it's fucked up. At least there's no nuclear bombs going off. As I tweeted, just write your text to your parents, the one thanking them for voting for Trump or whatever, before. Do it early, and that way when you see the mushroom cloud, you can send it before the satellites are taken out by the nuke blast, and before the if the brightness doesn't fry your optical nerve, of course. But see the mushroom cloud, that wave, if you're within the blast radius, get behind a sturdy mailbox or a friend, and hold up your dog or your cat. Take anything, a fish. Water's pretty heavy, so maybe like a fish tank. Hold that up, let that absorb some of the radiation, and if you're lucky, you will be the first mutant upon which the irradiated wastelands will eventually emerge, and maybe a coyote will eat your balls. And if you're a lady who doesn't have balls, well, guess what? You'll have balls. It's a mutation. It's a common mutation from radiation poisoning. Is everybody grows balls. So men will have 4, and women will have 2, and children. Okay, that's. All right. Well, good night, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for clicking on the play button. And I look forward to, I don't know. I think I tried. I hope the stress patch on my beard eventually grows back. I've been taking vitamins. Maybe it's vitamin D. I don't know. Who knows? Fucking sucks. So, okay. Well, good times in the city, in America. Bum Rush Industries. Check out my woodworking. I did get the no talking version of the first one done, and I'm very close to getting the second one done. And I'll have some announcement about the writing thing I'm doing. It's not that big a deal. It's just little funny thingies, but it's given me some energy and some nice creative wind in my creative sails in terms of trying to do this stuff. And organize your workplace and stop letting your boss steal your worth. Fuck the bosses, man. It's their world, and look what they're doing to it. Look where they got us. So maybe people should take over the decision making. I think that seems to make sense to me. It's not as easy as just stating that, but Same way depression functions on an individual level in terms of convincing you you're powerless. Your boss and capitalism function on a societal level by convincing you you're powerless. And you believe that. And in a lot of ways, you are. Because they set it up. You didn't write the rules, they did. Okay, I can ramble about that shit later. Good night, everybody. Good morning. Good luck. Stay sane. Stay off Twitter. I had a major overdose of it yesterday. Probably am going to a bit today too. But I'm eating vegetables and wiping up messes and, taking care of it. Okay. Goodbye. Be well. Be safe. Bye. Love you so much. Take care.